Hi, I'm Carl Lucci with the I Refuse to Fail Partnership and 1530 Networking Events. At our 1530 Networking Events, usually every week, we'll pick a business topic to discuss, and we have people who want to participate can, and those who don't, just sit back and watch and learn. But this week, we're going to talk about the old problem that most everybody's had. They've given their presentation, they're ready to make the sale, they feel the client has been informed, and they get at the end of that, I'd like to think about it, or I'd like to talk it over with somebody, or I've got to talk to my agency, we've got to do this, or I'll get back to you. And basically what they're saying is they can't afford it. They just don't want to admit it. Okay. They're trying to have a polite way of getting out of it. But I have a way that I have trained people to minimize that. You can't get rid of anything 100%, but there are ways you can lessen that happening before you spend a bunch of time, wasting your time, because people will waste your time if you allow them to. So we're going to talk about that today, and I'm going to ask anybody in the room that would like to, share how they handle that type of situation to raise their hand, and I will call on them, and we'll see what they have to say. Okay, Diane.
Yes, Diane Rosso, a health detox strategist. You know, Carl, oftentimes when people have objections, I just need to clarify a misunderstanding. That's how I look at it. So, have I shared everything with you that you need? Is it time you're looking for to review the information? If so, do you need a day, a week? You know, or is it just a bad time for you? Would you like me to put a pin in this and we'll talk about it in a month or two? And I try to dig further with more questions, because oftentimes what they tell you isn't the issue. So if you ask more questions, you might get down to the real issue, which is, Diane, I just really can't afford this right now. Not a problem. Not a problem. And do you have a windfall coming? You can kind of chuckle over things like that, or kick the can about expenses that are going out already. Are you open to discussing, the $5 coffee at Starbucks on a daily basis and how much that adds up to? There's lots of ways, but it also depends on the closeness of the relationship that you already have.
Okay, I understand it. At what point in your proposal are you telling them that? Is it before you give your sales pitch, or after, or when is this that you're asking this?
When I ask all these questions, it's after they've had the information and they're telling me the excuses or the objections as to why they cannot take the next steps. So
Okay.
that's when I start asking more questions.
Okay. Are they giving you the excuses, or are they just saying, can I think about it?
Both. And
Okay.
think about it as long as you want, but what else have I not given you, and how much time do you need? What information have I not given you, and how much time do you need to think about it? Because
Okay.
when you kind of put a little bit of a squeeze on them, because my time's valuable too, as
Mhm.
theirs is. And so you want to get that next appointment if they truly are interested. And if they kind of keep wishy-washing around the horn about getting a second appointment, then I'm like, why don't we put a pin in this for a while? It sounds like it's just not a good time. And then that way I kind of stay in charge instead of being whipped around and keeping them on a list that they're not going to, I call and they're not going to respond anyway. So,
Right. I got you. Because, like I said, people will waste your time if you allow them to.
yes.
And so you don't want to allow them to. Rob, and by the way, anybody else in the room that wants to comment, you can go ahead and put your hand up now. So, I won't have to ask after each person. Rob, did you have a way that you handle that situation? Or you'll have to unmute.
In fact, before I even do the presentation, I'll, where an introduction to something and saying, Okay, so let me ask you, are you prepared to make your decision today? And it's those things that either you are or you aren't, so, and if they're not, well, why aren't you available to make a decision today? Then you're going to find out some of the other aspects and things that, a lot of times you're going to throw up excuses. I'm going to have to speak with my wife and I'll be like, hey, I remember when we first started, was there anybody else involved in the decision making process? And you told me that you were the sole person. So I ask a lot of those questions before doing presentations because yes, it's time consuming when you're doing an effective presentation because I'm all about trying to educate the people about what it is that we're going to be discussing as well. So um, it's unfortunately, there's no way in heck you can force people to do anything, but you can at least make it very difficult. So if you're not prepared, I'm not going to do the presentation and,
Exactly.
and and really not waste my time.
No, you're right.
Now, one of the things that I've used in the past after I've done the presentation, and they've agreed to say that, yes, I'm capable, and I'll go into the Grant Cardone apologetic close. You know what? I'm really sorry because typically after I'm done with my presentation, you said you were prepared to make a decision. However, you're not at the end of my presentation. And I have to apologize for you because I wasn't effective. What did I miss that you think I should have added that would have made you again ready to
Good
make your
comment.
decision?
Yeah, no, those are all valid. Okay, do we have anybody else that would like to contribute, or do you have anything different or the same? If not, then I'll kind of close with what I do, and then we'll move forward. Okay, so this is what I have learned over the years, and this is what the highest paid coach in the world uses, and I learned from him. And basically what it is that if you've already educated a person, let's just say you've already had one meeting and you all have agreed you're going to have a second meeting, and you feel like you've given them all the information, but maybe you haven't. Maybe they haven't quite gotten all the information, but at the other meeting, you most likely have told them, make sure you have all your questions ready. I'll try to answer them. So at the very beginning of the meeting, there's no reason why you can't take control of the sale, because either they're going to control it or you're going to control it. And you, being the person trying to sell, need to take control. And if they're not going to do it, they're not going to do it, period. You got nothing to lose but time. And so a lot of times what you can do is say, so Mary, do you feel like you've been educated enough to have I given you all the information you need? And before we even start today, let me answer any questions that you have, or if it's a one-shot deal. Well, Mary, it's understood that you need this product or service. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. So we got that out of the way. So we know you need. Are you ready to make a decision today? Or is there something you're going to have to think about? Or do you have to talk it over with your husband or with an association, whatever it is? Please let me know now, because what I would rather do is have all of you together if it's a group decision. If you're not the person that's going to make the decision, oh, you are the person. So, okay, if you're going to make the final decision based on it, if I can answer all your questions today, are you ready to make a decision? Well, I don't know. Well, then why don't we do this? Why don't we set up a time when you really are, you need this product or service? Why don't we set up another time? And when we meet, then I'll cover it, and then you can make a decision, because yes is wonderful for you and me. No is okay, but no answer at all is unacceptable. Wouldn't you agree, Mary? Because that's wasting your time and my time. And I've got 4 more people that I got to talk to today about this same thing. There's no reason why you can't set down the ground rules when you go to make a sale. It's not being nasty. It's not being, unfeeling. But we all know that most of the time when somebody can't or won't do something, it's because of the price. And so at the end, if they say, "Oh, geez, I just don't know," you say, "Well, what is it? Is it the price, or is it something you don't understand? Because I want to make sure I'm doing my job in explaining everything. And if it is the price, can you tell me what it is you were expecting to pay for something like this? And if you decide not to do it, what do you plan on doing? What are you going to do to fill this need? Because if you need it, you're going to have to get it somewhere. And if you're just looking for cheap, I might be able to help you. I might be able to refer you to something. It's not going to be me, or it's not going to be what I have, and you're not going to get the same value, but I can possibly if you're just shopping price and not quality. So there's no reason why you have to. And then if they say, well, I just don't feel comfortable making a decision, that's okay. When do you think you can make the decision? I'd love to set up a time right now to get back with you so that we can go over and do it. Now, of course, every client, you have to mirror yourself to their personality. You can't always be abrupt. You've got to make it soft for the people who are soft, and you can be a little bit more direct, like I was just explaining to people that you feel are that way. So you have to learn the personalities. But there's nothing wrong with you taking control, because you can talk to 6 people today trying to sell what you have, and you'll get 6 answers that, can I get back to you? Or I have to talk about it. I'm just not sure right now. Well, then why were you here? I'm not saying you say that, but why were they there? So in my mind, there's nothing wrong with you taking control of that, because this is your livelihood. As long as you are giving them the information, you're not trying to scam them, and you've got a good product or service. If you're scamming them, well, you can expect it and accept it and just move on and try to scam the next person. But I would hope that everybody listening to this video has got a quality service or product that they are trying to honestly help people with, because there's only 2 people in the room, or 2 people that are talking, and one, you don't want to be the loser. And if it's gets down to, well, I just don't think it's for me, then say, oh, okay, this is my livelihood. Can you tell me what it is that I didn't explain well enough, or what it is about my product or service that you don't like, so that I can learn from that, because I don't want to make the same mistake with the next person I made with you. If they don't want to tell you, or they can't tell you, then you haven't lost anything. At least you asked. What do you got to lose? You didn't get the sale anyway. So I don't find anything wrong with that. And if you do it in such a way that you're not being nasty, you're doing it like you honestly want to know, what is it that I did wrong? Well, you didn't do anything wrong. Well, you're Carl, you didn't do anything. Well, then what I must have missed something, because we're leaving here today and you're not having this great product or service that I feel you really need. So you got nothing. You've already wasted time with them, so you might as well waste a couple more minutes and try to get the answer. Does that make sense to everybody in the room? I would hope so, because there's nothing wrong with setting the ground rules. So anyway, all right. So that's pretty much my slant on it. And Diane and Rob, both yours were good. And so we're going to end the video now. Hopefully, maybe this will help somebody else out there that watches the video. We'll be posting on the connectionsdirectory.com and on our I Refuse to Fail YouTube channel. So any of you all that want to see that, we'd appreciate you sharing it with people that that it might help. So with that, I'm going to stop the video.